Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to start this story off just a little bit different than I do with most other stories. Let me preface this by saying the details are not going to sit well with your sensibilities as well as my opinion. So that's your disclaimer if you need to exit the video. So I'm going to start this video off by being maybe a little bit insensitive. I don't know if I'm insensitive or not, but I definitely want to put this picture up on my screen. And I want the ladies to answer this question. I don't want any fellas to answer this. I want the ladies to answer this question. And I want to know, for any ladies that are out there, who finds this individual just in the face alone attractive? I'm just curious if there's one woman in my chat that is watching this video currently. You will look at this face and say, oh, he's cute. I want to make a baby by him. Oz wants to have a life with him. Is that not a bad enough picture? Let me see if I can pull up maybe a better looking picture. I think he's got some more handsome pictures. Maybe Just Jay is not doing him any justice. Let me cut the woman on the right-hand side off real quick. Maybe I just didn't find a good enough picture. How about that one? Is that any better? Almost made me sick to my stomach looking at that. Ugh. Sir. Excuse me, sir. Alonzo Ray Montoya. What beehive did you stick your face in? What cactus did you get into a fight with? Who threw you out of a moving car and your face ran into the side of a rock? What parachuting accident did you end up in, sir? What plane crash were you recently involved in? What type of meth are you smoking, sir? Did you take the meth and rub it on your face? Right? Did you bathe in meth? Okay, let me stop. Let me stop. Now that we've got, I had to get that out of my system. I'm sorry. Y'all know I'm a little bit of a jerk. I apologize for those of y'all who think that man is attractive and think that I'm being a little bit too mean, poking at people's looks. I know I'm not the picture of health over here, but I'm just saying. You won't feel so bad when you hear about what this man and this woman are accused and arrested for doing. Now, prosecutors charged a Brighton couple with 2 felonies Thursday in the connection to a January death of their nearly 2-year-old daughter, saying that their toddler died after ingesting 10 times the amount of fentanyl that would kill an adult. Let me bring that little princess back up on the screen. This little baby, this beautiful princess, this beautiful little angel, because of these 2 fools, this baby ingested 10 times the amount of fentanyl that would kill an adult. So Alonzo Ray Montoya, the creature on the left-hand side of the screen, is 31 years old. And the stupid accomplice on the right-hand side of the screen is Nicole Danielle Casillas, who's 30 years old. And they're charged with child abuse resulting in the death and distribution of a controlled substance in connection with their daughter's death. Now, this information was found by way of a family obituary, so I'm thankful that they put that out. But they identified the toddler as Aviana, A-V-I-Y-A-N-A, Aviana Ramona Montoya, and I hope I pronounced her name correctly. The child died as a result of ingesting fentanyl. If you've never heard me talk about fentanyl before, I've talked about it ad nauseum. Look it up. Fentanyl, just the dust of that stuff is so deadly that it could kill a human easily. Easily. It's very, very deadly. According to Adams Count Corner, the baby girl's blood contained 10 times the amount of fentanyl necessary to kill an intolerant adult user, the 17th Judicial District Attorney's Office said in a news release. Now, according to the couple's arrest warrant affidavit, the toddler cried loudly multiple times throughout the night while Nicole and Alonzo were still awake while using and selling narcotics. How many of you guys are surprised, especially if you look at their faces? They look like drug users. I'm just saying. Just saying. At least 2 other people visited the home during that time. Now, investigators allege that the baby was in the couple's bedroom for 56 minutes while fentanyl and crack cocaine were smoked in her presence starting late on the night of January the 1st. Then she was left unattended in her crib for nearly 14 hours before Casillas discovered the girl's lifeless body the following afternoon. Many of her cries were loud and sounded painfully forced as her body was shutting down. Brighton Police Detective John Grace wrote in an affidavit after reviewing surveillance footage from inside the home. God, dog. These people were recording their own crimes. You just can't be that level of dumb. That level of stupidity is just, it's immeasurable. So they found videotape because they record their crimes. This is just unbelievable. Surveillance footage. But Grace noted that the child made what sounded as though it was her last gargle cry at 6:50 a.m. on January the 2nd. That is so sad. Officers and emergency responders were called to the couple's home on the afternoon of January the 2nd after they reported the 23-month-old child was unresponsive and not breathing. Officers and members of the Brighton Fire Rescue and Plate Valley Ambulance performed medical measures at the scene, but the child was pronounced dead at the scene. When officers arrived after being called to the residence, the baby had dried blood on her face from her mouth to her right eye. A neighbor had performed CPR compressions on the child, trying to resuscitate the toddler. The autopsy revealed that the child's lungs showed leopard spotting from inhaling her own blood after it was expelled. She did not have any signs of blunt force trauma. According to an affidavit, the couple, during interviews at police headquarters immediately after the child's death, consented to allow investigators to view recorded surveillance footage taken inside their residence. The couple had cameras in their bedroom and the child's bedroom and in the kitchen. Video surveillance also established that Casillas allegedly lied to investigators about checking on the baby in her room throughout the night after she was just put down to sleep. Neither suspect entered the child's room to check on her, according to the affidavit. During the interview at police headquarters, Casillas admitted to smoking a fentanyl pill on the night of January the 1st, according to the affidavit. And I'm getting this information from denverpost.com, so thank you for the article. Almost forgot to say that. Montoya also admitted to using fentanyl inside his residence that night. He told investigators he stored the drug in both pill and powder form inside his room under his bed in a safe. Montoya told investigators that the couple were trying to get clean and they sometimes use methadone. There was a significant amount of drug use and drug sales which occurred in a master bedroom for the majority of the night, and drug use by a male associate who was staying in the living room on the night leading to the child's death. And I think that that person should be tied to this as well. I think they should be tied to this as well as far as charges. Both parents have brushes in the past with the criminal justice system. Montoya has a lengthy criminal history. When you date thugs, you date death. Right? Has a lengthy criminal history and has previously been convicted of felony drug possession, assault, and theft, according to records kept by the Colorado Bureau of Investigation. But nobody thinks that I'm right about you should do a background check. But in this case, they were both doing this crap. I don't know. In July of 2020, he was charged with driving under the influence, child abuse that did not cause injury, possession of controlled substance, and traffic violations by the Colorado State Patrol. That case is currently pending. Casillas was cited for misdemeanor driving under the influence in 2017 and later pleaded guilty, according to CBI records. Spokeswomen for the Colorado Department of Human Services and Adams County both declined to say Thursday whether the family had previously been involved with Child Protective Services. I don't even know why they can't tell us that. I think they should easily be able to tell us that. But Casillas and Montoya are being held at the Adams County Jail. I don't see whether they have a bail or not, but nonetheless, let's go ahead and move into the fair usage and the videos. Here we go. Let's get it. Federal law allows citizens to reproduce, distribute, or exhibit portions of copyrighted motion pictures, videotapes, or video discs under certain circumstances without the authorization of the copyright holder. This is called fair use. It is allowed for purposes of criticism, news reporting, teaching, and parody, which doesn't infringe of copyright under 17 U.S.C. 107. I thank you to everybody who's already clicked the thumbs up. For everybody else, let's get one thumb up. For everybody watching, please hit that thumbs up and share this story of this beautiful little baby girl, okay? Because more people need to know about what's going on in our world. Here we go. Let's get it.
Fentanyl kills 2 more Coloradans, a baby and a teenager. Well, that's where we start tonight at 6 o'clock. And now the 2 parents face charges. They are accused of smoking narcotics next to their baby girl.
That child was found dead with more than 10 times the amount of drugs in her body than would kill an adult. These are her parents, Alonzo Montoya and Nicole Casillas, both now facing charges of child abuse resulting in death and distribution of a controlled substance.
Michael Abeda covering the story for you tonight. Michael, a devastating story showing how the fentanyl crisis is truly spiraling out of control in our state.
Yeah, Karen, you know, you may think that fentanyl might be far away from you, loved ones, and your family, but it only takes a little bit of fentanyl to be deadly, and fentanyl can come mixed with a variety of different substances, and that's why the Adams County DA is ringing the alarm tonight about this street drug that he calls the most dangerous drug they've ever seen.
Fentanyl is the most lethal drug on the streets right now.
District Attorney for Broomfield and Adams Counties, Brian Mason, says the biggest threat to his community right now is fentanyl.
It's one of the most lethal drugs we've ever seen in our history.
Thursday was another reminder. Parents Alonzo Montoya and Nicole Casillas were in Adams County Court charged with allegedly dealing fentanyl and causing the death of their 1-year-old daughter. According to the district attorney, the toddler died from fentanyl poisoning after Montoya and Casillas were dealing and using the drug in their home. According to the arrest affidavit, on January 2nd of this year, Casillas admitted to police she smoked a fentanyl pill around midnight before putting her child to bed. Later that afternoon, she found the child unresponsive and was later declared dead. A search of the home found paraphernalia associated with selling and using drugs. They questioned Montoya, who admitted the couple was trying to get clean, but also that he was making crack rock from fentanyl pills he kept locked up in the apartment. Police also found surveillance video from cameras inside the home that appeared to show drug transactions, and later interviews with associates and family revealed that those people saw drug sales happen in the apartment. This is the second high-profile fentanyl overdose in Adams County this year. In February, 5 people died in Commerce City after ingesting the drug. DA Mason says people in his county need to be on high alert.
Parents, talk to your kids about fentanyl. Fentanyl is in everything. It's in drugs that people don't realize when it's there.
Now, DA Mason says that he needs better tools to fight this fentanyl crisis and make sure something like this never happens again. Not only laws that punish dealers and seek to get treatment for drug users like the one that was introduced at the state capitol last week, but also he says they need laws that punish people who possess drugs. Right now, it is only a misdemeanor to possess up to 4 ounces of fentanyl.
It was New Year's Day, right around midnight. According to police, Nicole Casillas was smoking fentanyl with Alonzo Montoya in the bedroom of the apartment they shared with their 23-month-old daughter on South 7th Avenue in Brighton. At one point, according to the arrest affidavit, a friend of theirs named Nico started smoking fentanyl in their bedroom. Casillas told her daughter, quote, "Get out of that," though the affidavit does not specify exactly what she was referring to. Police say Casillas then picked up the toddler from the floor, close to where they kept their narcotic safe, and not far from where Nico was smoking fentanyl. According to police, Casillas took her daughter out of the bedroom and put her in her crib. The affidavit says she was left unattended for nearly 14 hours, and that surveillance video from inside the apartment records the young girl crying loudly and in pain multiple times throughout the night. Finally, around 2 o'clock in the afternoon on January 2nd, police say Casillas took her daughter out of the crib and ran screaming into her bedroom. But it was too late. The little girl had already died. An autopsy showed both methamphetamine and fentanyl in her blood, 10 times the amount of fentanyl, according to the coroner, to kill an intolerant adult user. According to police, the toddler was seen multiple times on her parents' surveillance video playing on top of and touching the same surfaces where fentanyl was present. Casillas and Montoya are both now charged with child abuse resulting in death and distribution of a controlled substance. If convicted, they could both face up to 48 years in prison.
Carrie Brackett and Rebecca Bowles take us next door to a time and place they'll never forget.
And the baby's right here. She was laying right here.
It was early January when they heard calls for help.
I heard the dad, Alonzo, come out and he sounded very frantic.
Their next door neighbors, Alonzo Montoya and Nicole Casillas, the couple's baby girl, unconscious.
I heard the mother say, "My baby isn't breathing."
Brackett racing just inside to try CPR.
So then I get there,
but it was too late.
And there is a baby on the floor, and it was completely obvious to me that she was dead.
Brackett believes the baby girl may have passed away hours earlier.
She had 10 times the amount of fentanyl in her than an adult should have.
Both women say the unit was a hub of bad news.
They had cameras in their house because they were dealing drugs, so it's all on camera.
A quick glance outside the Montoya Casillas back door. Toys and clothes meant for a little girl who should be getting ready to celebrate her second birthday.
I just hope that she didn't suffer, and I just hope that, may God bless her heart and she rests in peace.
They said that they saw on videotape that this little girl was screaming for a while. And ultimately had a last blood-curdling cry for help before she died and had blood spewing out. She suffered. She absolutely suffered.
Prosecutors charge parents in the death of their 1-year-old daughter after the coroner discovers fentanyl in that child's system. I'm Dominic Garcia, bringing you CBS 4 News at noon, live on CBS 4 and CBS News Colorado. This is just the latest tragic death linked to that powerful opioid in our state. CBS 4's Michael Obeda joining us from the courthouse in Brighton, where the pair appeared before a judge this morning. Michael, what do we know about this case?
Dominic, we know that 1-year-old had 10 times the amount of fentanyl in her system that it would take to kill an adult who had no tolerance to the drug whatsoever. Now, 31-year-old Alonzo Montoya and 31-year-old Nicole Casillas are being charged with child abuse resulting in death and distribution of a controlled substance. The day after New Year's, they allegedly participated in illicit drug activity with the child present in the home when the child died. According to arrest affidavit, detectives reviewed security video from the home and saw what appeared to be Nicole doing drugs. Nicole admitted she smoked a fentanyl pill on New Year's Day before putting the child to bed. She didn't check on the baby until 2 p.m. the next day. That's when she found it dead. Also in the arrest affidavit, Alonzo Montoya admitted he was making crack rocks with fentanyl pills in the residence, and witnesses who knew the family say the couple was involved in selling drugs. Later, after further investigation, the Adams County coroner determined the child died as a result of ingesting fentanyl.
Parents of a toddler who had a lethal amount of fentanyl in her system when she died will be in court today. The two are each charged with child abuse resulting in death and distribution of fentanyl. 9 News reporter Jordan Chavez is with us in studio. Jordan, this story is so sad. There was so much fentanyl found in this toddler system.
Yeah, enough to kill an adult, actually. The 17th Judicial District Attorney's Office says she had 10 times the amount of fentanyl necessary to kill an intolerant adult user. And to put this into more perspective, she was only 23 months old. Now, she sadly died back in January. Since then, investigators from the Brighton Police Department and the North Metro Drug Task Force have been investigating the child's death. Her parents, Alonzo Montoya and Nicole Cassius, were arrested on Wednesday. And according to the DA's office, the two participated in illicit drug activity while their daughter was in the home before and after her death. Police were called after the toddler was found unresponsive and not breathing. We are told that first responders did perform life-saving measures, but were sadly unsuccessful.
It was back in January when police were first called to this duplex in Brighton. We now know more about what happened here. The police affidavit says a female caller was screaming that a baby was not breathing. The caller also said she has blood all over her. When police arrived, a neighbor was performing CPR compressions on the child. 31-year-old Alonzo Montoya and 30-year-old Nicole Casillas, the mother, have been charged with child abuse resulting in death and distribution of fentanyl. In the affidavit, police say,
I agree with y'all in the chat. You said Narcan couldn't have saved this baby. With having 10 times the amount of fentanyl that would have killed an adult, nothing was going to save that baby after that was ingested. So I agree with you. Definitely agree with you.
Distribution of fentanyl. In the affidavit, police say there were cameras that documented most everything that happened the night the child died at her home. Investigators say the video shows the child playing on the floor in a room where people were seen using fentanyl. There was a significant amount of drug use and drug sales for a majority of the night, detectives said. The child, they said, cried multiple times throughout the night before she passed away. Another man, police said, was living in the home and was seen using drugs and was observed picking up the child to help her out of her high chair. The affidavit said the child had been handled by a narcotic user who transferred their own sweat and body oils onto her hair. People who live in the area say there was constant traffic at the home.
We noticed that there were people buying drugs. Back and forth, coming back and forth all day.
In the report that
makes me wonder if they reported it, if they saw something and didn't say anything. I don't know.
Back and forth all day.
In the report, the detective said the child had to have ingested fentanyl either accidentally or been given the drug itself.
So let me give you guys my closing thoughts. They're talking about potentially 48 years, close to 50 years, 85% of that. It's never going to be enough to bring this child back. I think probably the most important thing that could have happened maybe is the neighbors could have did a welfare check. They could have called CPS, called the police, especially when you notice this level of activity. You know it's drug sales going on. Something is going wrong here. And that could have potentially saved this child. But like I said, I don't know whether they did or didn't do that. So I have to assume that they didn't say anything until after this end result. But it cost the life of this beautiful little baby, Aviana Ramona Montoya. Beautiful little baby. And I'm glad I was able to find her picture so I could pay her proper respects. Let me see if I can get her solo picture right here. Young princess. R.I.P. There was just nobody there to be an advocate for her, to defend her, or to protect her. It's just really, really sad. But these idiots definitely need life in prison. Give them as much time in prison as possible. But they don't ever need to be in our society again or around any more children. But thank you guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you have a thought or an opinion, leave it in the comment section. Thank you.